Hey everyone, thanks for joining me. This is Tim Laskus, and yes, you're listening to The Tim Laskus Show. This is episode 92. Today's guest is Cody, and he shares some tax tips for you entrepreneurs out there. He has a fascinating story. He used to be an NYPD officer, but today he's a CPA and a tax coach, and he's an author of multiple books. Let's see. One is called The Secrets of a Tax-Free Life, and another is called The 10 Most Expensive Tax Mistakes That Cost Business Owners Thousands. These are available on Amazon, so be sure to check those out. And enjoy this episode.
The Tim Laskus Show, in search of entrepreneurial gold. Tim digs deep into the minds of his guests, entertaining, down to earth, and informative. Now, here's your host, Tim Laskus.
Hi, Craig. Thanks for joining me today.
Great to be here, Tim.
Hey, so tell the listeners a little bit about yourself other than business. What are you doing that's fun these days up in New York?
Okay, what am I doing? I'm lucky to be about 20 miles right outside of Manhattan, so it's a short hop, skip, and a jump into Midtown Manhattan to enjoy whatever I want. I'm a family guy. I'm married for about 29 years, so I like to travel with my wife and spend some time with the kids.
Let me ask you, Mets or Yankees?
Mets.
Oh, all right. This interview is ending right now.
And to make it even worse, Jets. Okay.
What is, out of all the people in New York that I got to interview, it's going to be a Jets fan and a Mets fan.
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you a pass, though. That's all right. No, it's all good. It's all good. I know there's a big rivalry up there, after me living in Jersey for a while. I used to be an Atlanta Braves fan, but then when I lived up in Jersey, I became a Yankees fan. But the Mets are great, too. So definitely, you can't go wrong with both of those teams.
Yeah, well,
but anyway, Craig, tell the listeners a little bit about yourself professionally and what are you currently working on?
Sure. I'm a certified public accountant. I'm a business owner. I'm a former New York City police officer. In addition to being a certified public accountant, I'm a tax coach. I belong to a select group of practitioners throughout the country who undergo extensive training and continuing education on various tax planning techniques and strategies to become and maintain my certification. I've co-authored an Amazon bestseller, Secrets of a Tax-Free Life. And my most recent book is the 10 Most Expensive Tax Mistakes That Cost Business Owners Thousands.
Wow. So you've done a lot. First of all, I want to say thank you for your service as a police officer. I know that's an area that is in demand. We need more men and women on the police force out there. And all that you do, they definitely don't pay enough to put your life on the line every day. So I just wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, so now you have this book, and what was you've got Secrets of a Tax-Free Life, and your newest book, say the title again?
Is the 10 Most Expensive Tax Mistakes That Cost Business Owners Thousands.
So what's one or two of those most expensive mistakes that people are making out there?
I guess the biggest one is failing to plan. Just, going about and, spending time working on your business. People, they're going to buy a piece of machinery or a new vehicle. They do all this research, right?
Yep.
People don't do any research when it comes time to, strategize about ways to legally reduce their taxes.
So why are people not planning?
I think people are not planning is because they're not communicating with their CPAs, okay? Their CPAs are not communicating with them. And then they're looking at accounting as a cost instead of as an income item. So I like to look at it as an income item because, you spend time with me, I save you money. So that puts more money in your pocket.
Absolutely. And so people just have it backwards. They're like, oh, I'm not going to ask my CPA because then they're going to charge me. They're going to send me a bill. I got enough bills. But in the long run, when you look at what you're going to be saving, you should be calling up your CPA quite regularly.
Yes, you should definitely regularly communicate with your CPA, and he should communicate with you.
Right. So what drew you into the field of being an accountant, and how did you kind of get into there?
Well, before I was a police officer, I was an economics major in school. And at some point, I decided to follow in my dad's footsteps and become a police officer. And then I was going to be a chief. And somewhere along the line, civil services, you have to wait for a test. And I was waiting 10 years for the next test. And I kind of, at that point, I had a family and, things change, and I went back to school. I really liked taxes. I thought I was actually going to go into the investment world, and I became an accountant. And then I really enjoyed it, and I became certified. And then a number of years later, I started my own business.
Excellent. So, what is it like being an author? I'm sure there's many listeners out there who are thinking, they have information in their brain that they'd love to share with the world. What's your experience been writing a book and trying to get it published?
Well, mine is pretty much self-published. So these days, it's a lot easier to get a book published. You could do it yourself with, there's so many different services out there, Amazon, 48-hour books, and it's a good way to get your information out there to people that are kind of thinking about something, but they're not sure if they want to do anything, but they're thinking about it. So putting the book together, the first one was a joint effort. It was a little bit easier. The second one was not a joint effort, so it took a little bit more time. But it's great because it is also, instant credibility. How many CPAs do you know that have written books?
Yeah, yeah, not too many. And what's been one of the tough, as an author, you have to wear many different hats. I mean, there's actual writing process, then there's the editing, and then there's the design, and then there's that beast of marketing. Which one of those came naturally to you, and which one was kind of your biggest burden?
Well, the good thing was I don't market my book because I really my second book is really a giveaway. So my intention was not to sell it. It was more to give it away to whet people's appetite, to let them know these are some of the things they can be doing out there. I think the hardest part was setting aside time to actually write everything out. The editing you could send out and get it edited, but to actually put the paper to the pencil or the pencil to the paper was for me the toughest time, to take the time out of my day and set aside and write something down.
Now, did you kind of have a little system set up where you said, all right, every, Tuesdays and Thursdays from, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. I write, and on Saturdays from 6 a.m. to, 10 a.m. Did you have something like that was put into place to help you?
Yes, I was in no rush to do this, so I set aside an hour every Friday, and usually it was first thing in the morning. But it was always before lunch, but it was usually first thing in the morning, and I would just write. And then after I got my chapters in there, then I would go back and start making changes. And once again, I was under no pressure to get it done in a specific period of time, so it that made it a little bit easier.
Got you. Absolutely. Now, kind of shifting focus a little bit. What are a couple of tips for, just say, new entrepreneurs who are just starting, who really are unfamiliar with the tax system? Is there anything you can offer them to maybe help guide them along the way when it comes to taxes?
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the most costly mistakes we see is having the wrong business entity, whether they're set up as a sole proprietor and then maybe they should be an LLC, or they're an LLC and maybe they should be a corporation or an S corporation. So that's usually the biggest mistake we see: choosing the wrong entity, not taking the time to have your accountant and your lawyer decide what type of entity you should be. Whereas most people would contact their attorney, and the attorney is going to look at what's best for legal liability. He's not going to take into account what's best for taxes. And if you take the two of them, you put them together, you probably come out with a better all around fit for the business owner.
Right, right. Now, would you say that a lot of people kind of initially go the LLC route because it's easy to kind of fill out the paperwork? I've done that myself, and you don't have to submit anything monthly. Typically you can wait till the end of the year and then just kind of submit everything. But yet you're missing, I think you miss out on maybe a lot of kind of the tax advantages by going the LLC route.
It really does depend on what you're doing and what, I mean, people in the same line of work with different situations. One may be better off an LLC and one may be better off a corporation or an S corporation. I would say I probably see they're about 50-50 between LLCs and corporations.
Right.
And there's typically no real reason other than this is what the attorney said we should do.
Got you. Now so we've got LLC and then we have S Corp and then C Corp. Is that correct? And what are the difference between, say, those three?
So a C corporation pays its own tax. It's like almost like a fake person. So typically with a C corporation, you have what we call double taxation. So they have profit. The corporation pays tax on the profit. In order to get the profits over to the owner, they have to distribute them out in the way of dividends or salary. So that's your C corporation. And then we have the LLC, which is basically, it's like I said, not a whole lot of work during the year. Whatever your net income is flows through your personal tax return, and you pay self-employment tax as well as income tax on all of your net income. Whereas an S corporation takes a little bit more work during the year. You need to file payroll tax returns, but your salary, you take a reasonable salary, and then everything else flows through you free of self-employment tax. But depending on your particular circumstance, one could be better off for you than the other.
Mm. Well, I have a friend who's he's into commercial janitorial kind of service industry, and he probably generate gross a million a year. And, it would be difficult just knowing that to be able to say, well, he needs LLC or he needs a C Corp or an S Corp. What kind of questions are you asking the person to know maybe which is best for them?
I'm asking them, what's going on? Do you have employees? How many employees do you have? What's your net income look like at the end of the year? I want to get a real feel for what's going on in the business. And typically what we'll do is we'll take a look at the prior year tax returns, and we'll take a look at the current year profit and loss statement. And that'll help us determine, really what they need to be.
Got you. Now I'm going to ask you a controversial question here, and this kind of goes back to Trump, and when he was running for president, a lot of people were on this bandwagon of, oh, he doesn't pay taxes, he doesn't pay taxes. But my understanding is no, he just has great accountants that know how to pay, how the system works, and to pay his fair share of whatever the system is set up to allow him. Where's kind of your take on that?
Well, listen, him, Warren Buffett, a whole bunch of other people, they have the money to spend on legions of accountants and lawyers so they could use the tax system as it's designed, pay a legal fair share of it. So I don't have a problem with that. And I don't have a problem with those that are out there that are doing what they can that the tax law allows you to do. Why should you not? If it says you can deduct something, why should you not? And as a business owner, we're typically taking risks. We're investing in our companies. We're leaving that steady paycheck behind. So that's why I believe things are set up the way they are. So you can be rewarded because of those risks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost just like kind of maybe common sense went out the window when judgment came down. Of course, it's a system, it's set up, and you need professionals such as yourself to be able to understand it. And of course, you're going to take advantage of this. And I hate to even use the word take advantage, but you're just going to follow the system that's there that says, if you do this, you pay this. And they're just following. Most business owners, like you said, Warren Buffett, they're following that system. They're not saying, well, let me just pay, X number of dollars in taxes just because I feel like it. No, it doesn't work that way. They have accountants that kind of guide them along the way. And so professionals like as yourself understand this kind of web and really complicated, tax system. Do you think that our tax system needs to be made more simple?
Yeah, I mean, it's very complicated, which is, I guess it's good for me, but it is definitely very complicated. Do I ever see it becoming simplified? No, I think there's too many competing parties out there. But that's why you need to employ somebody who's going to, watch out for you.
Right. Now, let me ask you, is there anything that maybe small business owners or entrepreneurs are doing that could potentially get them in trouble and tip off it, when it comes to filing taxes, where now you're going to get audited? Is there anything out there that is kind of a red flag for maybe putting yourself in a position of getting audited?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're not working with a professional, you're leaving yourself wide open to possible trouble. I mean, it's like you're better off spending your time doing what you do, what you know, and leaving it to another professional to handle your accounting and your bookkeeping and your tax preparation. I see a lot of professionals out there, or business owners, I should say, that are worried more about taking care of the taxes and the accounting, not really having all the training that they should have, and potentially leaving themselves wide open to problems down the road.
Mm, absolutely. Now, let's go into the dig round, Craig, and I'm going to ask you three questions and just give me kind of the first answer that comes to mind. And what keeps you motivated daily?
Oh, I enjoy what I do.
Okay. Who do you look up to as a business leader?
Aaron Walker.
Aaron Walker. Tell the listeners a little about Aaron Walker for those of those out there who are unfamiliar with him.
Aaron Walker is probably a 13-time business owner, all-around nice guy. He runs View from the Top and Iron Striking Iron. He's a business coach and a business leader from the Nashville, Tennessee area.
Okay. All right. Now you have to choose one: street smarts or book smarts. Which one's for you?
Street smarts.
You're an author. Why are you choosing street smarts, Craig?
Because just because you're knowledgeable if you're book smart doesn't mean that you're going to be able to navigate running a business.
Yeah. Now, as a police officer, which comes in more handy? Kind of theory or street smarts?
But you have to have a combination of both, because you need to know what the laws are. You need to know what you're allowed to do and you're not allowed to do, and at the same time, you have to have those street smarts. And street smarts can be learned.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Now, what would you say, since you became an author and you really concentrated on kind of forming your craft as an accountant? Has there been a time that was really mentally challenging for you, where you felt, man, I don't know if I can do this. Maybe I need to go back to maybe doing something else?
Yeah, it was prior to my book. It was probably during the period of 2007 to 2009, the great economic downturn, where our business took a very large hit, and all our clients took very large hits. So it was definitely a tough period of time, and we made the decision to regroup and learn some more things and change our business.
Did you kind of get into a negative mindset initially, go in kind of, oh my goodness, what's going on, and almost the panic mode? And how did you get through that?
It's very easy to do. When the money stops coming in and you have bills to pay and a family to feed, it's very easy to get the negative mindset. But I kind of, it has to be a fleeting thought, because if you just sit there and do nothing and become paralyzed, you can't make any changes. So I won't say that we did not have those periods of time where we were wondering what were we going to do, but we took some steps, and it took us a while, but we turned things around, and now we have 10 people in the office.
That's excellent. What would you say has been one of the most fulfilling moments of this journey of yours?
Probably from a business perspective, it was hiring my first employee. Because then I went from being a sole proprietor to an actual business owner.
Mm. And so that kind of gave you that feeling. It's like, okay, now I really am legit. I have someone who's under me who I'm responsible for. And that must have been a great feeling.
Yes, it was a very good feeling.
Well, that's excellent. Well, Craig, unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show. But before we go, I want you to tell the listeners the title of your two books again, where they can find them, and where they can find you online.
Well, Secrets of a Tax-Free Life is available on Amazon. My second book, 10 Most Expensive Tax Mistakes That Cost Business Owners Thousands, is actually available if you go to my website, www.craigcodyandcompany.com/D as in David, I as in Ida, G as in George. And you could fill out a form and we will send you a free copy of that. They can also reach us at 516-869-4051. And my email is craig@ccodycpa.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Craig. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And take care up in New York.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Want more entrepreneurial tips? Go to timlaskus.com.